have handy and whatever. But I try to keep it consistent, so I use Fast Luck oil in my wallet pretty consistently unless I run out. I would recommend that you don't use lodestone oil or magnet oil because that's mostly used with mineral oil and it causes leather to dissolve, and I found that the hard way. Another hoodoo tradition, actually this is a general folk magic tradition, is to never put your wallet, your purse, or your money mojo on the ground or floor. If you do that, you lose all the money.
You lose all your money? Is that what you lose all your money if that happens?
That's what they say.
That's a superstition I heard recently. Yeah, like I started to set someone else's purse on the floor and she freaked out. No, you never ever set a woman's purse on the floor or you will always be broke.
Yep.
That's what she told me.
Maybe it started with hoodoo or maybe it was absorbed by hoodoo. It's hard to trace these things. Yeah? Ooh.
Oh,
Just think the ancestors reach up out of the ground and
they're
take your
dead. What do
money.
they need it for?
Yeah.
Half hour.
Half hour? Man. All right, I'm gonna have to revise some stuff. Okay. I want to do Treasury of Money Magic thoroughly, so I will try to expand this into the second part of the class. This was going to be basic, not one advanced. I think you probably needed to know more of the basics than the advanced. But I'll try to sprinkle a little bit in there depending on how much time is left over. Because I have like, geez, I didn't even go halfway through the cards, and we'll get a half an hour left. So please do come to the second half. All right. Another tradition is never leave your wallet empty. Always have at least a penny in there or $1. If you keep your purse or your wallet empty, you will lose all your money luck. They say that the wallet or the purse goes dead as if it was a living thing. It starves.
It's like physical cash,
Yes.
not your debit card.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, when I was young, it was always been said that if you don't have a penny in your purse, the dog's gonna piss on you.
Yes.
If you don't carry a purse or a wallet, you just put money in your pocket.
Well, then you don't have anything to represent your wealth in a physical representation unless your pocket becomes the representation of your wealth. Yes?
Along that same line, I was also told by my grandmother to never give a purse or a wallet to somebody without money in it.
Yes, that's a part of the tradition. I skipped over it, but thank you. When you give a purse or a wallet to someone as a gift, always have at least $1 in it to give them prosperity. Otherwise, it's kind of a backhanded curse.
Okay. I was gonna say, if you're anything like me and you can never ever seem to keep cash in your wallet, what I've done instead was I knit. So if you knit or crochet or just take some little fabric and sew it, I made a little teeny little pouch and put 3 pennies in it and sewed it up, and then can't spend that, so that stays in my wallet. I can't
Excellent.
spend that, stays forever.
Yeah, what I do is I actually have a $100 bill, which I've anointed with, whether I've done sachet powders to it, and it's my lucky $100 bill, and I never spend it. Maybe you can't afford that. You can use a $2 bill, which is another important artifact in hoodoo. Any case, you know not to touch that one. Make it distinct from the other ones. Either write on it or have it in an unusual currency. I know a $100 bill stands out in my wallet, but big time. So I know not to spend that one. It's also good if the money was a gift. The $100 was a gift from someone, and I keep it as a memento as well. All right. Another tradition is to keep your copper coins and your silvery coins separate. If you mix them together, you lose your money. If you keep them separate, it's good for prosperity. And another tradition is to anoint your door handles with conditioned oils. You, for example, you anoint the door handle to your home or your business with money drawing oil. But another thing you can do is, if you're going to your workplace and you can do it sneakily, you can use maybe essence of bend over and put it on the door handle so you can dominate and control your coworkers and your boss.
Also, I would like to ask,
Oh, steady work oil you put on the door handle so you never get fired, no matter what.
if you don't have a hoodoo shop where you live, can you make the oil yourself?
Yeah. You can go do very simple oils. Again, cinnamon oil is very associated with money, allspice oil. You add physical curios because it's not really the hoodoo tradition. There's nothing solid within it. So a bit of iron pyrite, bayberries, allspice berries all work, a little bit of cinquefoil, and especially chamomile. I drink chamomile tea to sleep, but in hoodoo, it's all about money. But the most important use of conditioned oils is to dress yourself. Most people in hoodoo just anoint your temples a little bit, but if you get rained on and washes off, it stops working. So what I do is every day, and I use more than one oil for multiple purposes, one for protection, one for money, one for love, one for whatever else. And I start anointing with my feet, if it's love, that part too, arms, and then up to my head. And you're doing this from your feet to your crown because you're trying to draw things towards you. This is another instance of directionality in hoodoo. There's another use for sachet powders that I also use frequently. I put it in my boots. So I do that once a week. Some people do it more frequently, some people do it less frequently, and it's a way of creating some more power and intentionality with the hoodoo product. More frequently than putting money powders in my shoes, because there's a tradition of cursing through your feet. I usually do protection powders in my shoes, but if I'm staying at home that week a lot, if I'm doing business, because I do my business from my home primarily, I put money drawing in my shoes, or a wealthy way or something along those lines, or something more general like fast luck. Let's see. You can also brush it on your body too as well. Because originally, that was one of the purposes of this. People would take the sachet powders and put it in their sock drawer, but also they would use to brush their body, like people used to use talcum powder to dry their skin a little bit throughout the day as an alternative to deodorant. And I've done that too, but it's kind of a mess, and I do it less than I used to.
Is there a tradition of like keeping a coin in your shoe? Is there a tradition of like keeping a coin in your shoe, like keeping quarters?
Well, yes, you can put currency in your shoe. The problem about, if you're putting a dime in your shoe, you probably put it under the insole so it doesn't rattle around a little bit and scrape your foot. But yeah, that's a part of hoodoo traditions as well. I have so much to tell you and so little time. I'm sorry that I'm skipping over some stuff. But yes, that is traditional. All right. Another tradition are magical colognes. And like I've said, Hoyt's cologne is associated with magic, particularly gambling, but it's used in other capacities in hoodoo, well, almost every capacity in hoodoo, as an alternative to whiskey. I mean, if you're basically dousing yourself in whiskey, you're going to smell like a drunk. Hoyt's cologne smells nicer. And there's the
Hoyt's,
Hoyt's,
H-O-I-T-S.
H-O-Y-T''S.
H-O-Y-T.
You should always have Florida water and Hoyt's cologne in your arsenal. Very useful stuff. But another use for Hoyt's cologne is you steep hoodoo herbs in it, or curios, to basically transmit that power through your aura, which aura means air, and into your energetic body. That's not exactly what how they would phrase it in hoodoo, but that's how I interpret it.
Excuse me, I don't want to sound legal. What is curios?
Curios are basically objects which have a metaphysical resonation. So iron pyrite resembles gold, and that's a lucky thing. A lucky rabbit's foot is a curio. And that's the terminology that's used in hoodoo to a certain extent.
So would you file the iron pyrite and use the powder? Or?
Well, it depends upon the deployment. If you're going to put it on your altar, you probably want a big chunk. If you're going to put it into your mojo bag, probably a smaller chunk so it doesn't scrape against too many things. And if you're going to use it to dress a candle, you smash it with a hammer and you decorate it like glitter.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. It still has the power, but if it's all together and it's a big chunk, it's going to be a little more powerful than a little sprinkles here and there. So because it's actually iron and it's sharp, if you sprinkle iron pyrite in your wallet, it's going to scrape up the inside. So use logic when it comes to the deployment of these things. Okay, where was I? Oh yes, very important. This is something I use, but I modify. One of the luckiest roots in hoodoo is devil's shoestring root. You take 9 devil's shoestring roots with a white thread, and you tie it around it 9 times. So the symbolism is 9 upon 9. You insert it into a bottle full of Hoyt's cologne. You can't actually insert it into a Hoyt's bottle because the neck is too narrow, and these roots are a little bit wide. So what I do is actually put it in a whiskey bottle. and I take that with me, and I anoint myself every day. You put the roots into the bottle full of Hoyt's cologne, and every morning you dip your hands into it, and you anoint yourself from your temples all the way back 9 times. And the tradition is to recite Psalm 23 while you do this, but of course, if you don't want to do Judeo-Christian stuff, do a prosperity spell for yourself. Devil's shoestring root is really cool because it's kind of an everything herb in hoodoo. It's called this because it's believed to tie the devil's shoelaces together so he will trip over himself. It basically blocks bad luck so well it's functionally good luck as well. And you let the devil's shoestring root steep for 9 days before you start using it. And then you replenish it periodically. What I do is I let the bottle go down halfway, then pour more Hoyts into it and keep it going. You don't have to wait 9 days for that. You just renew it.
And how did you do the anointing again? Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, like this. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me lie down in green pastures, leadeth me beside the still waters. He restores my soul, etc. 9 times. Every day. But I jack mine up a little bit. I add other money and luck herbs as well. My own formula, which has been really a secret up until this point, but I like you guys, so I'm going to tell you my secret. It's peony root and balm of Gilead buds. And balm of Gilead buds protects against the evil eye, and peony root is good for fortifying your health. So this is, mine is primarily for protection, but if you wanted to use this for money luck, you would put things like pyrite in there, cinnamon sticks, again, chamomile, allspice berries, bayberries, and the various other herbs and roots. And you steep that for 9 days as well. Another common thing that you see in hoodoo are money baths. Many purposes, simple or complex. You're supposed to air dry afterwards, and when you wash, because you're drawing money towards you, you're washing from your feet up to the crown. And you usually say a prayer while you do this constantly, and you stay in the bath with a timer for 7, 9, or 13 minutes, depending upon what you want to do. You can do it as simple as putting some allspice berries in there. You can get really elaborate and have 7 different herbs and spices. But because it's kind of grimy when you have put lots of herbs and so forth, you usually tie it up in a muslin bag and with a rubber band or so forth, and you basically turn your bath into a tea. I often add honey, because that's a sweetening agent and makes people like you better, and that makes them want to give you money more. That's sort of an indirect form of money magic, but that's used. And basically, once you do this, you do not wash it off for at least 24 hours because you're basking your aura, which is why you're doing air drying, in the prosperity luck.
I have a question
Can you
for you.
share? Oh, I'm sorry.
I have a question. Like,
Yeah.
so the wife here worked for a company that went bankrupt,
Mhm.
and they're closing the stores. So would you use a money bath as a way to cleanse that terrible financial gunk off of you?
Well, there are specific money herbs to get rid of money jinxes, and the most famous of which is alkanet, which is used in a natural red dye. Most things in hoodoo herbs are gold or green or whatever, but alkanet's one of the rare exceptions, and it's not only red, it really basically gets everything red. But if you only put a pinch in your bath, don't worry, you won't turn into red from head to toe. It's not that bad.
I tend to be a shade of pink anyway.
What?
I tend to be a shade of pink anyway.
Indeed. But alkanet's used for that, and chamomile, and I actually have a whole list here I'll come to later for that specific purpose.
Can you kind of say the incantation, what you do with the...
Yeah.
With that,
Oh, that's Psalm 23.
what is that?
Psalm 23 from the Bible.
Oh, okay.
The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me lie down in green pastures, leadeth me beside the still waters, restores my soul, leadeth me in paths of
Slow.
righteousness.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've memorized it so well I can basically just turn it into
I
one
know,
long
but
word.
we can't hear what you're saying.
Right. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, thy walk. Okay.
And I'm sure
You get the
it's
idea.
Thank you so much.
online.
Yeah.
In any case, I'm not a part of the Judeo-Christian tradition, but I consider this an incantation which activates the momentum of spiritual belief in hoodoo.
That's absolutely
And so I don't find a great allergy to the fact that it comes from the Hebrew Bible. But if it bothers you, it's not going to work. So don't use it. Use something else.
No, I studied Kabbalah, so, and I'm
Yeah.
Wiccan, so it kind of works together anyways.
Sure, absolutely.
You have about 15 minutes.
All right. Yeah. Oh, another thing to do in hoodoo baths, which I kind of skimp on, but people say is important. It still works for me. You take a little bit of the bath water, and you go out at sunrise. You throw it towards the sun as an offering to the sun. Now, there's a really cool New Year's Eve ritual bath. Right before midnight, you bathe in money drawing bath, which is a commercial hoodoo product, which is very similar to other money drawing products. And you bathe with coins. Though I would add skeleton keys and other things which represent opening things up. And exactly at midnight, you say, "May I be showered with wealth in all the year to come." You get out of the bath and you air dry, and you take the coins and you anoint them with money drawing oil. Actually, am I right about that? I didn't write down. All right, if I remember correctly, you anoint the coins with attraction oil, and you dress a photo of yourself with money drawing oil, and you put it in a money jar. So you dry off the coins with a little bit of the money drawing bath and the attraction oil upon it, and you put your photo at the bottom of the jar, you put the coins on top of it, and you seal it in, and you pray that you will have prosperity for all the year to come. All right, hand washes are also used in hoodoo, but this is mostly for gambling. You take a number of herbs which are associated with gambling luck, you turn it into a tea, you wash your hands with it, and you air dry, and then you go out gambling, mostly card gambling. Floor washes are used. You can use this in your home, but this is mostly for businesses. Most hoodoo shops wash, or actually, hoodoo practitioners often wash their shop's floors with Chinese wash, which is a hoodoo product with a little bit of van in it, from top to bottom and back to front, to clear away all the money jinxes and bad luck for the coming year. A lot of shops will use a weekly sidewalk wash for business. This one's a little bit gross. You take your first urine of the morning, you don't say anything. You basically pee before you say a single word to anybody, and you put it aside, you mix it with cinnamon, allspice powders into the scrub water, and you wash it from the curb to the door to bring in customers. But you can replace the urine with ammonia. That's another part of the hoodoo tradition, to replace the gross urine with ammonia. It's kind of similar. You also use incenses in hoodoo. So this is mostly used for your own prosperity. You basically take a money drawing incense or one of the others, you set it on fire, because it's usually self-lighting incense that you can put it on coals if it doesn't burn well. And you stand over it naked and you brush the smoke towards you to bring prosperity into your life. You can also use these incenses in your store, in your workplace, if they allow you to burn it, to bring money luck throughout the space as well, or in your office at home. There are also herbal altars. This is something I've used myself very successfully. You take a dish of skullcap powder, and you dress coins with attraction oil, right? Yes. And you put this on its own altar, and it brings you gifts of money. This totally has worked for me. You also use animal curio altars. So you write money wishes on a $2 bill in a red marker, and you jam it in a gator paw with glue. This is something I'm suggesting, though I don't know if this is an actual hoodoo tradition. You can basically empower piggy banks as an alternative to money jars.
Okay, two separate piggy banks, now one for my coppery coins and one for my silvery coin.
Indeed. Well, what I would do to enchant a piggy bank is I would use the conditioned oils or conditioned sachet powders that would stain to draw money towards you on the exterior, add herbs and curios, which represent money, at the base when you're beginning the piggy bank, and then just add a coin or a dollar bill every week to grow your wealth. And once it's full, you basically hide it somewhere to draw continuous wealth. And one thing you can do if you want to is you can empty out every year to begin the process anew. And you spend a little bit of the money on charity because, again, cycle of prosperity.
Yeah, okay.
Put this next to your lodestone, and we can turn it into a lodestone altar.
Yes, totally. It depends how big your altar space is, of course. But there's a kind of tradition of secrecy with the money. So basically, be discreet about this. You don't want people touching things on this kind of an altar. Maybe put it in a cabinet or a drawer or so forth. You don't want people touching your piggy bank. That sort of signifies theft and loss. Okay, I was leading up to this. Compound altars. Complex prosperity combinations with pyrite, big roots, the largest lodestones you can find, with riders, statuary to money representing gods like Ganesh, vessels for various coins and cash. And this is what you put in your business openly, because you want people to give offerings of money to Ganesh or whatever divinity that you're working with, or Hote, the lucky Buddha. You can have a whole bunch of gods on there, all representing wealth. And people will believe, perhaps accurately, by giving money into the money jar before the gods, that they will gain prosperity themselves. And you take this money and you give it to charity. And this is a good way to set up that cycle of prosperity that I'm talking about. But you'll see this in a lot of magic shops.
Is it charity when somebody walks out with the whole jar of your charity, which was collected for your gods?
I think they're going to get a big, big punishment for that.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, was that one lady? Yeah, there's that big.
Unless they're in dire need, in which case it's another form of compassion.
That lady was not in dire need.
About 10 minutes.
All right. Oh, I skipped over something here, I think. Oh, this is a wonderful one that I learned about recently. I have not tested it out, but I'm dying to try it out because I sell talismans. This is a way of increasing your sales online, particularly on eBay. You take a printout of the product that you're trying to sell, and you write out the amount that you actually want to get, $2,000, $5,000, whatever it is, probably less than that, on the printout of the object, and then you do a 5-spot with Look Me Over oil. Let me explain what a 5-spot is. One of the common patterns that you see in hoodoo is to place things at the corners of something and another dot at the center. It's sort of like X marks the spot, but a little bit more discreet. And it's a way of charging the entirety of an object. If you were to put oil on currency, you would put at the corners and one dot at the center. But because you don't care whether this is being stained or not, you do the printout of the product you're trying to sell, and you put Look Me Over oil at the corners and one dot at the center. Now, Look Me Over oil is a really interesting hoodoo formula. It's mostly used for girls who want to get dates, but it has one other purpose, and that is it draws sales.
So what happens if you have an online store?
Yes.
So you have like a lot of products.
You print out them one by one, and you do this over and over again. And then, once you've dressed it with Look Me Over oil, you fold it towards you till it's small enough, and you put it in a keepsake box that's flat on top, and you burn a prosperity candle on it until the sale goes through.
May I ask a quick-
Yes?
I'm sorry, the 5-spot, is there a directionality to that as well, like calling quarters, you do it in a certain way?
Yes, but everybody has a different version of it. You can do the spots away and then towards you. I do clockwise and then center. There's another tradition of hoodoo meals. You eat black-eyed peas on New Year's Day with collard greens and cornbread. And the collard greens represents green cash, and the cornbread represents gold. And if you eat that on New Year's Eve or New Year's Day, that brings you wealth for the coming year.
What did you say? You said cornbread and collard greens?
And black-eyed peas.
Black-eyed peas.
The black-eyed peas are the animating power of it, and the rest is embellishment to a certain extent.
It's very traditional in Europe that New Year's Day, everybody eats lentil. Lentil.
That probably works too, yeah. But I'm talking about the specific tradition, though.
Okay.
I'm incorporating to some degree folk magical traditions, and I do want people to know that lentils on New Year's Day in European traditions for luck, and it's very applicable. Maybe you can have the black-eyed peas with the lentils. There's no reason why you can't combine them. Have a nice little meal. Yes?
Is there any more to, I don't know if this goes off or subject or maybe associated with it, is there any more to the story of the horseshoe being upright above the doorway for wealth and fortune to go in as opposed to upside down spilling out?
everybody disagrees about whether the horseshoe over the door goes up or down. I have my own opinion, which may be idiosyncratic, but since everybody disagrees upon it, I guess it's okay for me to talk about it. I think that if the horseshoe is like this, it brings in good luck, and I think if it goes that way, it averts bad luck. I've heard the opposite, though, that if you do it this way, it basically collects cash in like a bowl, and if you have it the other way around, you're losing the cash that's falling out. But go ahead.
I would like to ask something, because you deal with this. I have a store, and I found a rusted horseshoe behind my counter, which I didn't put in there. What does that mean?
Well, it's a way of drawing luck into the
Oh,
shop.
I thought it was opposite. Because when I touched it, it felt funky.
Well, maybe somebody, maybe it absorbed a curse. You can sometimes, use benevolent-looking things as curses. There's a formula in hoodoo called double cross, and it's a way of taking traditionally benevolent things and cursing it and giving it to your enemy. So they think that you're giving they think that you're giving them a gift, and it blinds them to the fact that it's drawn bad luck to them all the time.
Oh,
Yeah, sure.
okay.
Not very nice.
5 minutes.
All right. Okay, so, okay. The main herbs and curios for money and hoodoo are alfalfa, allspice, bayberry, fava beans, which are also called mojo beans, chamomile, cinnamon, cloves, devil shoestring roots, dragon's blood resin, fumitory, also known as earth smoke, cinquefoil, or cinquefoil, also known as five-finger grass, high John the Conqueror root, Irish moss, not to be confused with Spanish moss, which is used for war magic, lodestones, patchouli, iron pyrite, rabbit's feet, salt, silver, mercury dimes in your year of birth, often to represent yourself, but also for money, $2 bills, thyme, not time, T-H-Y-M-E, and dirt from the four corners of a bank. Nearly all things in hoodoo maybe coincidentally have associations planetarily with the sun or Jupiter. The sun because of gold, Jupiter because of prosperity. And this may have been an inclusion by way of medieval and Renaissance rulerships, or it could have been discovered independently because there's an objective reality to some of these associations. There are also specialty herbs. Agrimony makes customers want to buy. To remove money jinxes, and I referred to this earlier, alkanet, alfalfa, chamomile, Chinese wash with vanvan in it. There's another specialty herb to find buried treasure, not common today. You put a pinch of althea in your boots and you will find buried treasure. People don't find a lot of buried treasure these days. If you want to turn bad luck into good, you take black cat hair to appreciate the spirits of bad luck, turn bad luck into good, or a rabbit foot, which you dress weekly with vanvan oil. That's another good pocket piece, but it's also incorporated in some mojo bags. If you want to get dreams for gambling in the lottery, you put calendula under your pillow because it looks like golden coins. You take huckleberry leaves burned with fast luck oil in the bedroom. And if you want to make quick sales, if you're a salesperson, you put fumitory in your shoes.
Is that
What is that?
photo again, the lottery?
Calendula?
Yeah, calendula.
Calendula?
Yeah, calendula flowers sort of have look like gold coins that sort of circle around and are kind of yellowish.
What was the last word? What you put in your shoes? Fumitory? What was that?
Yeah, fumitory is a herb. It was burned
Oh,
as
it's a
incense,
herb.
which is why it's called earth smoke, and it's also the word fume is in it. It's used for a lot of different things, but in this context, it's used to get you quick sales.
Okay, thank you.
If you want to increase the power of any formula in hoodoo, you add a little bit of frankincense, either the powder or the grains, in the oil, in your shoes, whatever else. The primary herb for steady employment and regular commissions is gravel root. Gravel root is something everybody should have, and it's a primary ingredient in steady work oil. Let's see, I'm going to skip over that. Okay, another trick you can use if you're trying to get a job is you take a little bit of 2 minutes? Wow. Okay, I'll stop with this last formula. I love this. This sounds so cool. I've never tried this. You take attraction sachet powder and you mix it together with steady work powder. You put it in your hands and you clap 3 times and you state your intentions. I want to get a job. I want to get a job. and then you shake hands with everybody at the job interview, and they have to hire you. All right, so do you have any last questions for this? You got a hand up there?
She goes over here.
Yes.
With the New Year's, if they want to have their family increase, they add fish to the meal.
Fish. Yeah, fish is just,
And you don't let the man through the door New Year's Eve after midnight, or else a woman comes in first,
Mhm.
they'll be poor all week.
yeah, I've heard that tradition,
That's
left that out. Yeah, who comes in through the door after New Year's Eve determines the luck for the year. So a rich person, particularly a man comes through the door, it's good luck for prosperity. A woman comes through the door, as she says, it's less lucky. That's a part of that tradition as well.
Yeah, we doing this all the time.
Excellent.
If we are home on New Year's Eve, we send the husband out and he has to come back.
I left that out just for time's sake. Obviously, I did not do good time management here. I'll talk about the rest of this during the next class and then move on to more advanced material. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.